Hey, I'm Charles Hoffman from Black Ghost Audio. I'm a music producer and educator currently working full-time in the music industry. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at how many hours a day you should spend producing music with the goal of eventually writing songs that are worthy of the radio. To do this, you need to learn music theory, get the right gear, use the right recording techniques, learn how to use your mixing tools, and figure out how to master your music. Making radio quality songs requires you to have all of these things figured out. If you're lacking in one area, your music is going to reflect that. When you're just starting out, this is a lot of stuff to take on all at once, so what's the best use of your time, and how many hours should you be investing in this? What I do is split my time 20-80, meaning I spend 20% of my time learning about music production stuff, and 80% of my time actually producing music. So if I were in your shoes and had an hour to produce music after work, I'd probably spend 15 minutes learning about some new production concept, and then 45 minutes playing around with that concept and trying to work it into a song. Obviously, the more time you spend producing music each day, the better you're going to get, but you have a life and you're limited by your schedule. That's just how it is. I think it's more important that you split your available time wisely rather than try to find extra hours in the day. That's not really sustainable. I've definitely tried to do it myself, but you'll probably end up just overloading yourself. With all these different areas of music production that you need to get the hang of, I found a few learning approaches work better than others. Instead of trying to learn about music theory, recording techniques, and mixing your music all in one session, split it up. Maybe you want to focus on music theory one day and mixing techniques the next. What works best for me is really diving into one subject for a week or two at a time. I might go on a rampage where I'm learning everything I can about designing audio plugins. That was my most recent obsession. I'll read textbooks and play around with new concepts and ideas, and as soon as I start to feel burnt out on a subject, I'll move on to something else and do the same thing all over again. Eventually, I'll circle back around and revisit topics, but it could be a few months down the road. Over the past 10 years of producing music, this approach is what I've found works really well for me. It gives me an opportunity to do more than just scratch the surface of certain topics, and I feel like it lets me dive pretty deep. Music production is an ongoing battle. At a certain point, you'll have learned how to produce music, and I have a separate video about how long that takes, but you never really stop learning. There's also new hardware and software coming out all the time. Music is constantly evolving, and so are production techniques, so I think it makes sense to optimize the time you spend learning. I used to work construction, doing some really back-breaking work as a laborer, and one day one of the older guys on my crew saw me struggling to push this wheelbarrow through a patch of wet mud. He comes over to me and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I say, "What does it look like I'm doing? I'm trying to push this wheelbarrow over there." He walks away for a second, comes back with a long plank of wood, and lays it on top of this disgusting mud bath that I am, at this point, basically trapped in. And he says, "Work smarter, not harder." This guy runs over this plank of wood with his own wheelbarrow in 2 seconds, clearing all the mud. So, ever since then, I've always been focused on working smarter, not harder. You can achieve the same results as someone working 4 times harder or longer than you if you approach things the right way. Asking questions on forums, reading blog posts, and watching YouTube videos are all good ways to learn about different aspects of music production, but I don't think they're the most efficient way to learn music production overall. The problem is that you're only provided with small bits of information, meaning you're left to piece concepts together on your own. What ends up happening is that you get these gaps in your understanding of things, and if you're primarily self-taught off YouTube, you probably know what I'm talking about. For example, you might have a decent understanding of mixing techniques because that's what you focus on the most, but what good is that if you can't write a basic chord progression? Chord progressions are the foundation of most songs. All these concepts play into one another, which is why developing a well-rounded understanding of production concepts is really important. So what's the solution? Well, I spent the past year and a half compiling all of the most important music production lessons I've learned throughout the past decade into a video course called Music Production for Beginners. I'll walk you through the process of producing 3 songs from start to finish, and you learn how to write, record, mix, and master music at home. You don't have to have any previous musical experience. I teach you everything with the assumption that you're brand new to music production. The course includes all the information I wish I knew when I was starting out 10 years ago, and the curriculum ensures that you become well-rounded in all the essential areas of music production. Since the course uses a structured learning system, you're not going to end up with gaps in your understanding of things. We start at square one, so I show you how to download Ableton Live and set it up using a custom template. This is the DAW that you'll be using to follow along with the videos. In the first hour of the course, I walk you step by step through the process of producing a hip-hop beat using audio loops, and you'll have an easy win under your belt and a really good idea of what the music production process looks like. After that, I teach you all the music theory you need to know to write chord progressions, rhythms, melodies, and bass lines in Ableton using virtual instruments. And unlike music theory taught by a piano or guitar instructor, which usually focuses on being able to read sheet music, the theory that I share with you is specifically going to help you write songs. You learn how to assemble a highly effective budget-friendly home recording studio with specific gear recommendations. I show you how to build a cheap DIY recording booth that you can use to capture pristine recordings at home. You'll learn reliable recording techniques that result in professional quality vocal and acoustic guitar recordings in addition to electric guitar and bass recordings. I show you how to blend sounds together to create balanced, rich, and full songs. You'll gain an in-depth understanding of 5 essential mixing tools that you can use to mix any song. And I also show you how to maximize the loudness of your music and prepare for distribution to streaming services like Spotify through a process called mastering. If you want a shortcut to producing radio quality songs, this is it. I don't want you to go through the same struggle that I went through or have to pay as much money as I did to learn how to produce music at music production school. It shouldn't be that difficult, and I think music production should be accessible to everyone. To get started, all you need is a computer, it can be a PC or a Mac, and a digital audio workstation which you can download for free. The entire course is project-based, so you're not just watching videos. You're watching videos and constantly putting what you've learned into practice, which is going to help make all this information stick. So if this sounds helpful and you want to dive into writing songs immediately, click the link below. You can produce your first song today, and I'll walk you through the process step by step. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Normally, I release music production tutorials on this channel, so if that's something you're interested in, consider subscribing below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Dr. Trust.